Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast on the Prepper Broadcasting Network. We talk prepping, guns, and politics every week on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Go check out our content at mwfpodcast.com on Facebook or Instagram. You can support us via Patreon or by checking out our affiliate partners. I'm your host, Phil Rabalais, and my co-host, Andrew Bobo, is on the other side of the mic, and here's your show. Welcome back to Matter of Facts podcast. Andrew and I thought we'd sit down and do a pocket dump, talk about everyday carry, and unfortunately this glass of Gentleman Jack and Coke is not part of my everyday carry. This has to be an occasional treat.
Oh, I have water.
I mean, I did tell you before the show started, like, oh dang, I forgot my drink. So
well, I thought you were talking about water or coffee.
Well, okay, coffee was a reasonable assumption, but like drinking straight water just seems like a waste of perfectly good coffee grounds, you know? Like, I get all my water intake by converting it into coffee. And no one can convince me otherwise. My wife yells at me all the time about how I'm not drinking enough water. But then I point out to her that water's in coffee, so that should work.
Sure.
Good afternoon, A. Smith. Don't think I've seen you on the stream before.
Hi, Andrew. I think, is that you?
Do you know who that is?
It might be.
Should we use your witness protection alias, or?
No, I don't know. Anyway. Why no sweet tea, he says.
Okay, I will recant my former statement. It is perfectly acceptable to convert water into sweet tea or coffee, but drinking just straight water just sounds like a sad existence to me, personally.
I mean, it's good for you, though. Yeah, what country you're in and what city, I guess, as long as you're not in Flint.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely safer to drink, battery acid than the water in Flint.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I don't know. I was thinking, we were sitting down to record, and I was just thinking of oh, yep, that's my buddy. My friend Andrew. Another Andrew.
Damn it, there's two of them.
There's two of them. You should have seen it because I went to college with him. You should have seen it when we were in college, and I finally convinced him to be my best friend. And
did this involve like coercion or bribery?
Well, he was a guy that he kind of stuck to himself, and I bugged him like every day because he was awesome at what he did. And then I finally we just started talking and hanging out, and I think he felt sorry for me. He was like, I guess like a puppy dog you find on the side of the road.
So in other words, you wore him down.
Yeah, basically. That's what I did.
Hey, persistence is a good trait, though.
I know, right? But we were just talking about everyday carry, and if we can get into it, if we want to, we can get into what we have in our vehicles as well. Kind of, I mean, we don't have to get exactly what we have in our vehicles, because mine, ever since I expanded to my deck drawer system, that grew huge, like pretty by a large number. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you want to jump right into it, or do we have any housekeeping at all that we got to do?
Well, I mean, housekeeping-wise, I'll tell the listeners that I have recorded the first non-podcast streaming YouTube video in God knows how many years. Like, years and years ago, I was dabbling in YouTube videos and short form and mid-form stuff, and it was mostly gun reviews and things like that. And then, frankly, YouTube pissed me off so bad with constantly jerking us around about like what they would monetize and what they wouldn't allow, and channel strikes. I just said to hell with it and just quit. It really reached a point very quickly where it was not worth my aggravation to put in the time it takes to do even the most basic YouTube video. And the production quality I am willing to indulge in and capable of pales in comparison to what the big channels will pull off, because I just don't have the budget or the technical know-how or the software to do it. But it wasn't worth the hours of time investment for put up a 10 or 15 minute video and then have it get kicked straight back in my face by YouTube. So I quit. And more recently, I started looking at, I started looking at a lot of the things we've been talking about, and I'm like, some of these things could be expounded upon outside of a podcast in something like a TED Talk type of format. You know what I'm saying? Where I can just like sit down with the audience and do a show and tell and explain like not just what I've done, but why I did it this way. to see that makes sense to them. So the first one is like it ended up being a 45-minute video about off-grid communications,
Hmm.
and it's not all inclusive. It's just kind of like explaining the progression of where I started, why I started where I did, and ending up at like where I'm at right now, which you and I were talking about right before the show started, like me testing the man pack that I've been building. And, it's going to be a little on the dry side, but I don't know. Somebody out there might find it useful. And when it comes to manpack radios from the civilian world, most of them are ham. Not a lot of guys have taken it upon themselves to build something like this for a GMRS radio and then document it. So maybe somebody out there will find it somewhat useful.
Hmm.
But that's what I've been working on. It's a work in progress. I will probably release it in the next couple of days. So if you're listening to this on the audio stream, then it might already be out and you should go check out our YouTube channel. And if you don't know how to find that, it's in the show description. So I've tried to make this as easy as I can for y'all.
I guess the other thing that we should probably talk about is prepper camp. If you are going to prepper camp or you want to and you have not bought tickets yet, buy tickets because they're only going to go up in price as the event gets closer. If you are trying to go and you have not gotten and you want to stay at the location, at the area, good luck getting a spot. There's probably no spots left. If anything, there might be Tent City, but I doubt it. So, yeah, I would get your tickets and go. We're going to be there with a booth. We'll be sitting next to James and with Disaster Coffee and probably a bunch of the other people from PBN, the cadre there from PBN. So
Yeah. Well, Jane and Rick have made a pretty solid commitment that since I believe all or most of the PBN crew have booths. A lot of them are doing sales. Our intention has never been to do sales out of our booth. We're really using it like a mobile recording studio. So I think our intention is to go in there and do pretty much what we did last year. Try to rope people in for interviews, set up the webcam, set up the laptop to record. I have totally and completely given up on streaming from that location unless somebody wants to drop Starlink on us for free because the bandwidth is just not stable enough. And even with Starlink, I'd be worried about weather or something screwing with it. So I think the best solution is what we've done, which is to set up out there, fully self-contained, running off of Jack-Ran solar panels, record, come home, edit, and then let it out afterwards. And like last year, I'm struggling to remember. I want to say we put out something like 12 videos
I
with
don't
the
remember.
with the comp. Huh?
I said I don't remember.
It was a lot. I mean, we did 3-4. We did about 4 interviews a day, all 3 days we were out there. So we pumped out a lot of content from showgoers, from like friends of yours, friends that became friends of mine over that trip, and other PBN hosts, and just people that were walking by like, hey, you want to come on the show? So it was a great experience, and I hope to be able to do that again. And this year we will have my wife and daughter with me to help. My wife will be there to help herd the cats, which I need desperately. I need a cat herder. But yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to come to prepper camp and you can't get a spot at the campsite, it's a little late in the year to try to pull that hat trick off. But Asheville is not far away. There are bed and breakfasts all over the area, so like you may not get the stay at camp experience, but you can still come to prepper camp. You're just going to have to find a spot off site to stay. But those things exist. You're just going to have to do some digging to find them.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, on to topic. Pocket dump time. Like we've talked before about everyday carry and the concept of like you're carrying things on your person to be able to address needs. And when the first thing I want to say as we go into this topic is that I don't believe there are many wrong answers here. It really is, down to like the way you dress, how much you can carry, what you're going to carry, where you're going. This is a highly, highly individual decision. The only wrong answer when it comes to like what do I include in my everyday carry is I never thought about it. That's the wrong answer. But if you've thought about it and you've weighed your options, I kind of say, okay, well, Assalamu alaikum, go with God. You made your decision. Hopefully the stuff you bring with you is what you need. But it's just another outgrowth of like everything else we talk about preparedness. It is, this might happen. I want to have this thing to address that need.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to start with like really mundane things. A lot of people go straight for like the really crazy things, and I go for mundane. This is a wallet. Most men carry a wallet, right? Most men don't carry an RFID blocking wallet, so that your cards and all your stuff inside your wallet can't get snagged if somebody has an electronic device handy to be able to read these magnetic strips through the leather, which does happen sometimes. I also make a point of carrying cash because if anybody's never been in a situation where you whooped out your debit card and it didn't work, I have several times. Cash helps. Cash just helps grease gears. So I make a point of always keeping an RFID blocking wallet. I always keep some cash inside, and like very, very common sense things like driver's license and concealed carry permit. And
I figured that was a given.
it should be a given, but insurance cards. This should be a given for most people that you have, like if you have health insurance, you have your card in your wallet. But I'm going to tell you
I
that
don't
I've
carry
met. Why not?
because it's on my phone.
Let's say hypothetically, you were found at a scene unconscious by medical personnel. No, I guess that wouldn't matter. I mean, they'll get your insurance information
Yeah.
before they release
No.
you.
Well, when I go through mine, yeah, we'll compare. But anyway, yeah, keep going.
Okay, so very mundane thing, wallet. I like RFID blocking wallets for obvious reasons. Car keys should be self-explanatory. I've got house keys on here. I've got keys to gun cases and various things that I don't leave these. It's not that I am not comfortable leaving these keys at home. It's that these keys are always in my pocket. So if I walk up to any variety of locked cases in this house that have firearms in them, I don't have to think about, well, that key is over here, that key is on the mantle, that key is in my freaking pocket right next to my truck keys. And I can pop it and get into it anytime I need to. So again, when I wake up in the morning, the wallet goes in the back pocket, these go in the front right pocket. Then flashlight and knife. And this is pretty self-explanatory, except that, this is the knife I carry when I can carry what I want. When I can't, I actually have another pocket knife I carry at work, because I work at a place where if you carry a big knife like this, people freak out, and I am allowed, per the regulations, to have a knife as long as the blade is less than 2.5 inches. So I have a very, very small Gerber paraframe that has a blade that is just barely short enough for me to get away with it. And that's what I carry, just so that nobody give me crap about it. And then I've got this little Surefire ProTac 1L is the perfect size for an everyday carry light, in my opinion. It fits in a back pocket. It runs off a CR123 or off of a AA in a pinch. I always have batteries close by if I need to swap this thing out. And I actually have a procedure I go through every morning, because this is one of those lights where, like, on the first tap you get 80 lumens, and on the second and if you double tap it you get 300. So I go through a procedure every morning where I point this thing to the floor and I double tap that tail cap, because if the battery is getting too weak to run at the higher power level, it'll default back down to the first level. So the first time I double tap this cap and I see that dim light come on, I know the battery's about to die. So it's just a way for me to function check the light every day. And if you can't tell from the amount of anodizing that's been worn off of this thing is a freaking warhorse. It's been in my back pocket for years. It's never given up, never quit. And in case it does, I have a whole spare light, only been taken out of the package, doesn't even have a light, it doesn't even have a battery in it, sitting in my wall safe, just for the day this thing finally quits on me, but it hasn't yet. Andrew pointed out to me before we started streaming, I cannot show you the handgun I carry everywhere, because YouTube and or Facebook will pee their pants about showing firearms outside of a gun range. So whatever.
Pull up a picture of it.
Huh?
Pull up a picture of it.
I don't have pictures of it handy,
Dang.
unfortunately. But it's a double stack 9 millimeter, and 99% of the time, that is the smallest firearm I'm willing to carry. Like, I've heard every argument for these really, really small subcompacts, like the Glock 43 or the SIG, was it the P365? I think it is the little bitty tiny one. I've heard every argument in the world for those. I don't like tiny little mouse fart guns, even if they're chambered in 9 millimeter, even if they hold 10 rounds. I don't like them. I prefer I prefer a compact size, not subcompact, double stack 9 millimeter, and I am willing to dress around that gun. So if that means I can't get away with wearing gym shorts in a tank top, I'm emotionally at peace with that. I want to carry the gun that I know I shoot well, because I subscribe to this very different method of thought where, there's the idea that you carry a gun because it's comfortable to carry, with the understanding you're going to carry it probably for your entire life and never have to actually use it. I subscribe to a different philosophy where I say I'm going to carry the gun I know I operate the best. Because on the day I'm in a fight, I don't want to be thinking to myself, damn, I wish I had the better gun that I left at home because it weighed another 4 or 5 ounces. So that's what I carry. The only exception to that is if I'm wearing dress clothes, because if I'm wearing, like, slacks and a jacket and I know I'm going to take the jacket off, I can't conceal I can't conceal this double stack 9 mil. So in cases like that, I have an ankle holster and a 5-shot J frame, and it disappears under a pant leg. And then I'll usually pack I'll pack a Bianchi speed strip with me, just to have some extra ammo. So that's pretty much like, oh, and this is something I want to get on camera. Cell phone. Almost everybody today carries a cell phone. If you don't, I envy you. But everybody carries a cell phone, and nobody really thinks of these things as being part of their everyday carry. It's a cell phone. It's not a piece of prepper gear, right? But let me tell you what this thing is to me, from my way of thinking. This is my primary communications device. If I want to talk to my wife, I pick this thing up, I punch a magic button on it, and my wife answers sometimes when she wants to. On the flip side of things, this is also my secondary communication device, because if the data circuits are up, but the text message and voice circuits are down, or if they're overloaded because there's a local emergency, but I can still get data, I can peg her on Signal, or I can get her on Facebook Messenger, or whatever. I have purely data-based ways to contact my wife through this thing. And it's also an intelligence gathering device, because if there's something weird going on, I can get on this thing and get on this thing called the internet, and I can start punching stuff in to try to get information. So don't discount the fact that this is a communications and an intelligence gathering device. It's not just for posting pictures of your tactical stuff on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? It's in your pocket anyway. You might as well figure out a way to make it useful. That is my everyday carry in a nutshell. Knife, gun, the usual nonsense, flashlight. That's what I carry every day.
That's all?
That's it.
Dang.
That's every day. I might supplement that depending on a situation, but that's the base layer. What about you? And don't include anything in here that you only carry every now and then. This is every day.
Well, I mean, I'll start from head to toe. So I mean, I know I wear it a lot on this show. I mean, so my ball cap that I'm wearing, I usually am always wearing a hat. The only time I'm usually not is usually at work. Usually at work, I'm not wearing a hat, and then I mean, I'll take it off occasionally, but I like wearing hats. But this hat I wear the most. It's from a company called Eagles and Angels. It's a veteran-owned company that the guy actually takes uniforms from special operations, guys who have seen some crap, and done some stuff. I think he did stuff from like the Robert O'Neill, who smoked Bin Laden, allegedly. He takes their uniforms and he slices them up and he makes patches, American flag patches and stuff with them. And so, yeah, I've had this hat for, I don't even know how many years I've had this hat, and it's actually starting to wear. I've never washed it. It's a flex fit American flag hat. I love it. And I actually was just on their website, and They actually have it back in stock, so I might buy another one so that I can retire this one. I don't know. It's broken in and comfortable and sweat stained, and it's been through a lot. So, but then the other thing I have, next thing I have is my Gators, the Gators ballistic. Where they at? Oh, sunglasses. There we go. Anyway, they're the Gators Marauder ballistic rated OD green sunglasses, and then I have dropped down to my waist. I have I'm wearing the Tier 1 concealment, the X Core EDC belt. So I like it because it actually, when you first buy it, you buy it and it's a little bit bigger, but you actually can cut it, and then so see if I can get this to. So basically, it has it's a latching system, so it basically it has a tooth right here that kind of grabs and it latches in, and then you just undo it. But what's nice is you have these screws, these set screws right here, to where you just undo those two things. This whole this slides off, and you can actually cut it down if you need to, and you put it back in there, put the set screws in, and then it holds. It's thick, it's rigid, very stiff. I've never had any issues. I love it. Actually, you can see on the side that I carry my pistol on that it's actually pretty worn on that side, just from the nylon and stuff. So I just trim it up every once in a while. The pistol I am currently carrying, that I usually carry all the time, is my M&P 9C 2.0 version. It's 13 round mag, 9mm, but I actually have a Hive Technologies base plate on it, so it's a +3 base plate, which I like it. And honestly, it doesn't really print all that much. It doesn't really print that much bad or much worse. Sorry, I don't speak English. I should carry a dictionary at the EDC. But I like it. That, and then when you're mag changing, I just like it also because you can easily you can hit the mag release, drops the mag really quick, and then you for a quick reload if you need it. But it's topped with a Steiner MPS red dot. It used to have the SRO on it, but unlike Phil, I believe in multi-gun, depending on your situation. I am currently waiting on. I have the M&P 9C, the first gen subcompact pistol. I'm actually waiting on. I sent the slide off to get milled, and I'm actually going to put the Steiner, or not the Steiner. I'm going to put the Trijicon SRO on that. So I'm just waiting on that one to get back, because that's going to be my summer carry. Just because it doesn't. It's a little bit. It's smaller than the compact that I carry right now. But it's just a little bit more comfortable in the summer, and it's better for shorts and stuff like that. But
Can I point out, because you bring up this whole summer carry thing, that down here in South Louisiana,
always summer.
like, well, we have is summer. Like,
Yeah.
the winter is not long enough to merit a whole nother gun to carry. It's just it's summer, a
Well,
little bit
I mean, I
winter,
know.
more summer.
I mean, I know a lot of people and I mean, I've carried this gun for a long time. I've carried this gun every day, in the summer, in the winter, spring, fall, whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I've had this pistol sitting around, and I decided to do something with it, and it's one of those things where I might carry it. I don't know if I'll carry it every day during the summer, but it's just definitely another option to have that I like. So, and I like options.
You've kind of gone in the same philosophy I have, just I guess different steps. Where I'm like, I want the double stack 9mm, but in a pinch, I'll drop down to the ankle carry J frame.
Well, I mean, they're both double stack. That's the thing. Is both the 9C, the 2.0, and the 9C, the subcompact. They're both double stack.
I guess my
So
question then is that, do you have a firearm you carry when neither one of those can fit, or do you ever find yourself in that situation?
no, I dress around it. I dress around either of them. So I mean, yeah. I mean, like right now, I'm always wearing a button-up shirt of some kind. I find that it's just easier to conceal, because I like to appendix carry, and the holster I'm carrying currently with it it's a Holster Co. Made in Michigan. So I really like their holsters. I've been rocking this one for, I don't know, a number of years now. I don't remember how long, but yeah, I mean, I like to appendix carry. and so I found with appendix carrying, I found that I'll wear just a normal t-shirt sometimes, but I wear a button up quite a bit just to help with the printing and just that security of it's not going to print, not going to ride up or anything like that. So
Yeah.
but basically, I mean, because I work a lot, if I'm not working, generally I sometimes I'm in shorts. But generally, when I'm working, I'm always wearing 511 ridge pants, um, and so I wear them outside of work too, because they're comfortable. But if I'm not wearing those, then I'm usually wearing like Wrangler blue jeans, normally. And so one of those two things. In my left side, where is it at? Usually I'm rocking the Leatherman Rev multi tool. And then with that, I actually have the Stiletto Pro 1000 lumen flashlight. So what I like about this is it's rechargeable, so I don't have to deal with batteries or anything like that. But what's nice is if you hit the right button, it actually has if you can see that, it's got a green light. So it's got a green light. You just hit it, and it's got a green light. If it's green, it's good to go. It'll be yellow, and then it'll turn red. And then obviously, as it dies, it'll go down to a lower setting. But what I like about it, it's got a button on the side that you can hit it, and it goes low, medium, and then high lumens. And then it has the programmable button in the back here that you can either do press and hold, and you can determine the kind of how program it what you want for lumens, or you can click on, click off kind of thing. So I have that one set to 1,000, and then my first click on this one is like 300, 350 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Funny story, TSA has no idea what to make of this. And also security at events don't know what to make of this either. I was going to a baseball game, and I was carrying this, and the guy looked at it and he goes, "Is that a knife?" And it was facing up like this, and I just simply I clicked on the side, and it flashed him right in the eye, and he goes, "That's a flashlight." I said, "Yep, it's a flashlight." He's like, "Okay, you're good to go." So they don't know what to make of it, because it's just thin. It looks like a knife. I don't know it. People are, if they don't know what they're looking at, but
It kind of has the profile of an out the front knife.
kind
Like
of.
I can understand how somebody would make that mistake.
But you would think that the glass like that would just be a giveaway of, hey, it's a flashlight. But
Now you're giving people way too much credit.
yeah, no.
I do want to latch on to one thing you mentioned though, having selectable power levels.
Mhm.
Like I cannot emphasize and you and I have also we've debated this. I wouldn't say vigorously. We've debated this back and forth whenever we talk about pistol mounted lights because like on my everyday carry, I don't have a pistol mounted light. First of all, I won't take one. Neither one of them will, and that's why I carry this.
Mhm.
But the other thing that the other reason I'm such a big proponent of having like quickly selectable power levels on your everyday carry light is because this light gets used mostly to say, hey, there's a puddle of water, honey, don't step in it. Or my daughter dropped something on the floorboards of the truck at night when it's dark, and I'll pass her my flashlight so she can find it. And I'd much rather have 80 lumens shining on the floorboards than 300 or 1,000 lumens shining on the floorboards, blowing up my windshield so I can't see where I'm going. So, like,
Yeah.
to me, when you have that low power level, it gives you the ability to make this more of a utility item and less of a dedicated burn retinas down when I'm trying to shoot somebody, type of
Yeah,
item.
I
Because
mean, whether it's 1,000 or not, I mean, it's still utility. But I get what you're saying, because I find myself actually I find myself hitting just the front button right here, which is like low lumen, the lowest level. Then
Mhm.
I find myself hitting the thousand. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Well, not just that, but if you have a mounted weapon light, that weapon light is good for one thing and one thing only, and that's shining things you don't mind shooting.
Well,
Because
yeah,
I mean, you can't pull your gun out and then wave it around to use the light to look for stuff in a parking lot. Like it's just
there's a
not
reason
reason.
why the Detroit Police Department can no longer have weapon lights on their pistols.
Oh, Jesus
So
Christ, Andrew, did you have to put that in my head right now? Because now I'm imagining a police officer shining a light in a dark parking lot, walking around muzzling the hell out of everybody.
oh no, it gets better. It's
Okay,
they were checking IDs, and they're like, okay,
no,
yeah, nope, that's you.
no,
Yep, that's you.
no, 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 no. I
So
don't know. No, 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 no. Tell me somebody didn't use a weapon-mounted light to check somebody's ID.
Okay, I'll tell you that someone did not use a weapon light to check someone's ID. So anyway, this
From
is
this
not
day
that show.
forward, if anybody ever tells me only police are well enough trained to be trusted with guns, I am not responsible for what happens next. It might involve physical violence. It will
Okay.
definitely involve ridicule, though.
Yeah. So back to topic before
Back
Phil
to
gets off
topic.
too far. Then I carry uh, it's a CRKT M16 Tonto knife folder. Got it from a buddy of mine for being in the wedding, so that's kind of cool. I carry a lighter. I think everybody should carry a lighter on you if you don't, even if you don't smoke. But lighter. The wallet that I carry this. It's called the Exter card holder, basically card sleeve. It is the RFID protecting. What I like about it is I had a wallet like yours before, and it just got so big, like my hips, like I'd be driving and my hip would just ache. So I found it. I
Hmm.
take it out and put it in the glove or in the tray, the center tray or whatever it is. And I found that I would actually hop out and I would leave it. And as I got older and stuff like that, it was like, okay, I need to grab it. So I would do that. But I've got this and I've liked it. I like it because it only holds like 4 or 5 cards. You hit the little button on the side, it pops them up. It actually has the sleeve on this side here, or this side here, or this side, so you can actually put money. You can fold up some money in there. You can fold up extra. I have cards in there. I mean, I got my CPL. I got some other cards in there. But I found trying to be a little bit more. I mean, I say minimalist, and I mean, look at all the crap that I carry. But when it came to my wallet, I was trying to slim it down. And one of the things I did was I don't carry my insurance card on me. I don't carry credit cards on me. I don't carry. I have some cash on me, and I have my debit card on me, and then I have some corporate cards on me, and that's about it. But I don't carry. I don't have any personal credit cards. Actually, I closed them all because I don't want. I just trying to get out of debt, and so I just closed all. I basically don't have any of that stuff now. So, but like my HSA card that I have, a bunch of my like range cards that I have for with codes, I took pictures of it all. I put it on my phone, and it's in a secure folder. It's a secured encrypted folder on my phone. And I found like I don't need it. I don't need to carry my Blue Cross Blue Shield card with me everywhere I go. The only time I really need it is if I need to go to the hospital, if I have an appointment of some kind, and I'll grab it. And honestly, I've used my phone, and that's when I was actually when I was at the hospital a couple weeks ago. Um, the lady, she was like, "Yeah," she goes, "Actually, companies are going digital now, so they're not even sending cards out." So she's like, "If you have it on your phone, I can take it." So I was like, "Here it is," you know. So yeah, so that's kind of like the reason for that, and it goes in my front pocket versus my back pocket, so that's not bad. So yeah, moving down. I mean, I know I got a lot of crap. I got more crap than what Phil does, but ankle. I carry every single day, I guess, unless I'm wearing like flip flops or something like that, which is not very often. I am wearing it's called a Riker nylon gear. It's a ankle med kit. Uh, so I carry that every single day. Inside of that, it has a soft tactical tourniquet, quick clock combat gauze, hyphen, twin packet chest seals, trauma shears. Inside of that, I added Streamlight, microstream flashlight. I added inside of that just because you need light. So yeah, I wear that every single day at work, everywhere. And again, I get some funny looks at when I go to events and my ankle buzzes when they wand me and it buzzes at my ankle and they're like, "What do you got?" And I said, "Ankle kit. You're scanning. You're hitting my tourniquet." And so they freak out and stuff and want to look at it. So whatever. But boots wise, I'm either wearing Victos Taculus boots or I'm wearing the Salmon the Forces 2 Quest 4D GTX boots, which are waterproof and they're comfortable. So, and then besides that, I got my phone and my keys. So,
So that's your base layer. Is there anything that like you add to that situationally? Because
um,
what I've described so far is kind of my base layer, but I make a lot more amendments to this. I feel like depending on what situation I'm going into.
No, I mean, depending on situation, I mean, like that's where my backpack comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
But I generally like I carry all of this on me all the time, and it sounds like a lot, but it all packs down. And I've gotten to where I've moved stuff around to where like my wallet will go into my front pocket, and I might put my keys in my back pocket. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
my truck keys, I'll put those like maybe in my back pocket. But other than that, no, I don't. I really don't scale it up or down. This is kind of just everything that I grab. I mean, obviously, it goes into different places depending on what I'm wearing because of my pants. Like if I'm wearing jeans, obviously Wranglers and stuff, I don't have pockets down at the knees, like cargo pockets, like I do my 511s or the Victos shorts that I wear. So if I'm wearing jeans, yeah, things are more in my pockets and stuff like that versus my 511s, the extra wallet is down in my left side on the left cargo pocket. And so that kind of frees up along with my keys and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. Well, from my perspective, like I've already talked about how like I'll swap out my gun based on the environment. Like, you know, quite frankly, lately my wife and I have been invited to several different weddings, and at a wedding, I'm in a unique situation with regards to how I usually dress. Because normally when I dress, it's t-shirt or it's a button-down shirt, and I can conceal a double stack nine under either the one of those very easily. I'm almost exclusively wearing like Wrangler work pants, and they do have some very low, not the big poofy cargo pockets, but they have some very low profile like thigh pockets. And I don't even usually carry much in them, but with what I normally wear, I can conceal double stack nine, no problem whatsoever. But if I'm at a wedding or something like that, or something where it's very dressy, shirt being tucked in is going to be mandatory. Dress slacks is going to be mandatory, and in those types of situations, I just don't have a way to conceal double stack 9 millimeter that is concealable enough that I am comfortable with it. You know what I'm saying? Especially given the environments that I'm in. Like, gun at a wedding would set off alarm bells for some people, even though I don't think it should. I mean, hell, there were people armed at my wedding, and I was emotionally at peace with it. But that's neither here nor there. So in those situations, I'll swap out my gun and I'll ankle carry a J frame because I can carry that as long as I'm wearing long pants. Period. End discussion. I have found myself in the situation several times recently of having to be in hospitals a lot, and not for myself, thankfully. Usually it's for aging family members that I've had to take to appointments or I've had to accompany or whatever. And in those cases, obviously, gun and knife stay behind. It's a hospital. They're a little sensitive about that. But in those situations, bearing in mind that like my cell phone is my primary and in some ways my secondary communication, device, I carry a little charging brick, and I carry a rolled up charging cable for my phone, and usually I'll even include a USB battery pack,
mhm.
purely for the fact of I'm going to be someplace for potentially the next 4 to 8 hours. I don't know if I'm going to have a wall outlet available to charge my phone. I don't know if I'm going to have to resort to the battery pack, but I know that battery pack from experience will charge my phone from zero to max several times over. And it's just a way to bear in mind that like in the environment I'm in, I'm going to be stationary. I'm going to need to keep in touch with my wife. I'm going to need to, be reachable. So having extra power on tap to make sure my phone stays charged, that becomes more of a priority than it would be if I were at home or if I were vehicle bound. Because if I'm at home, I've got all kinds of things here to charge my phone, and if I'm in my vehicle, I have all kinds of ways to charge my phone in my vehicle. But if I'm in an unfamiliar environment where I don't know how long I'm going to be here and I don't know exactly what situation I'm walking into, is there going to be a wall outlet available for me to charge my phone or not? So
Mhm.
having those, just that extra step of I know enough of the environment I'm going into that I don't know everything about it. So I'm going to make sure I have some things to take care of myself. I don't always carry like a bag in if I'm going to be at a hospital. Like if I know I'm going to be there all day, I will always make a point of carrying a small bag with me, and in that small bag is like bottles of water. It's usually I'll throw a liquid IV into it. I always make sure, because I've talked about it on the show before, but I'm hypoglycemic. My dietary changes have made that much less of a problem than it used to be. And that might be a whole show all by itself if we can ever get a nutritionist to come on the show and talk about like high fat, high protein diets for people managing their blood sugar. But, like I always make a point of having water and I always make a point of having some kind of snacks. Peanut butter crackers, something with protein in it, because I know that if I don't manage my blood sugar, it's going to make it impossible for me to manage the situation. So again, if I'm going to be someplace all day, I'm going to make sure I have something to eat with me, because I'm one of those people that because of my blood sugar, if I skip a meal, I might just feel crappy. I might pass out. I don't know. It kind of depends on what my body feels like doing that day. So I have to manage those things. Um Other than that, I can't honestly like I understand all the arguments for carrying a med kit on your person. It's not something I am usually willing to indulge in, simply because, we'll talk about truck EDC here in a minute, but it's one of those things where, like, I am weighing out the likelihood of necessity given the environments I'm in, and I judge that the bulk and the weight of carrying it every day is probably not warranted.
I guess
Given
it
that I
depends.
given
Depends
that
how
I do have
bulky.
that available to me wherever my vehicle is, which is
Mhm.
usually not that far.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, the ankle kit that I wear, you'd never know you even had it on. It's super light, so I guess that's why it's easy to carry. I mean, yeah, the only thing that I really change, like I said with my backpack, is I usually carry a backpack everywhere I go. It's got I'll have some snacks in it, food, or some extra water if needed. But yeah, I have a mobile. Charging kit that I put together. So basically, it just it's I think it's like 3 or 4. It rolls up, but you unroll it and it's got like 3 or 4. I think it's got 3 compartments, and I have a vehicle. If I have a little vehicle for a cigarette that has 2 USB plugs built into it. I have 2 wall chargers. I have multiple cables for my phone. I have a portable battery brick that for recharging stuff, and then so that's basically that. And then inside the backpack, I carry more medical. So I actually have an IFAC from Dark Angel Medical in there, and then I actually have some extra med supplies in there, and sometimes I even have. I'll throw some ibuprofen in as well, depending on where I'm going. But in my backpack, I have a couple sleeves of batteries. Thyrum, I believe it's called. They have their couple different battery packs that you can buy. So I have those. I have a headlamp in there, spare mags for my pistol. If I have, once I get it finished, put together, I was carrying a folded AR inside of my backpack as well. But again, that different depends on where I go, because obviously I can't go into a hospital or something like that with that. So when I was this recently, when I was staying with my uncle in the hospital, I had my work laptop. I had all kinds of enough stuff in there to charge and all that stuff. So
Yeah. So now let's have that conversation about what we carry in our vehicles to the degree of which we are willing to share with the world what all we carry in our vehicles. Funny thing is, a lot of things you just mentioned keeping in your backpack is what I keep in my truck, because right now my truck's parked out in front of my house, and most places we go, we're going to go in my truck. If we go in my wife's Jeep, I have a lot of the same things in her Jeep, just for that redundancy and not having to think about it. In the truck, first and foremost, I keep a complete pack of CR123 batteries. Take a wild guess why. Because this thing runs on CR123s. The light that stays in my truck at all times, which is a 2-cell version of this thing, runs on CR123s. If anybody needs to wonder why you would keep a flashlight in your truck, it's because human beings don't see great in the dark, and things usually break when it's dark outside. So if you want to start fumbling around inside your engine bay in the dark, have a party, but I don't, so that's why I keep lights. But I digress. I keep a complete IFAC strapped to the roof of my truck, which is like tourniquet, quick clot, gauze, Kobang, friggin' Israeli bandage, 4x4s, ab pads. The whole thing is so stuffed that if you manage to make that bag regurgitate its contents, you might never get it all back in there. But it is everything I could think of to deal with massive trauma, and that stays glued to the roof of the truck at all times. I have a tourniquet separate from the med bag, sitting right next to it, and there's another tourniquet inside the med bag. What else is in there? Charging cable. I have USB ports in the. I have the little dongle that plugs in my cigarette lighter port, has twin USB A's, and I've got charging cables for me and my wife and my daughter's phones all in there. Just because you never know when somebody's going to need one, especially on a long trip, it always comes up. Because I recently made the jump into GMRS radios and off-grid comms, I have a whole GMRS mobile 20 watt sitting in the truck.
I thought you hated radios. What the heck?
Yeah, no. I'm radios tickle that nerdy part of my brain, but from a perspective of having a way to talk to people independent of, it's not that talking to people independent of cell phones is my biggest concern. It's more the fact that like cell phone, and I talked about this in the video that I'll be publishing shortly. Like, I think I think people that haven't thought about it before are under the mistaken impression that like if I hit Andrew Bobo on my phone right now, that this phone connects directly to your phone and they talk to each other. There are people out here that think that's how it works. It's not. Most people that are like their IQ is at least approaching the median. They understand it's not how these things work. But this thing contacts the local cell tower, and that cell tower routes the call through a very complex infrastructure to call Andrew and connect from his nearest cell tower to his phone. And that whole infrastructure can go down, and it does sometimes. So the whole idea of having radios is when that infrastructure stops behaving itself, I want to be able to talk to people.
You're easy to get distracted. This isn't a comms. This isn't a comms episode, Phil.
Yes, I know. But the point is, I have ways to keep me, my wife, and my daughter's cell phones running. I have a method of comms if the cell phones stop working. I have the IFAC in the truck. I also have, I call it a Bobo kit or an Owie kit, which is like a whole ass Tupperware container filled with not IFAC stuff, not tourniquets. It's got Band-Aids in it. It's got medical tape. It's got gauze. It's got Benadryl and Tylenol and ibuprofen. It's like I always tell people that an IFAC is, if you don't fix this in 5 minutes, this person's going to die. That's an IFAC. A Bobo kit is, if you don't fix this, it's going to suck for a long time. It's not going to kill you. It's just going to suck. Well, unfortunately, if it's my wife or my daughter that need Tylenol or need Benadryl or need a Band-Aid, I don't want their lives to suck. So I have this whole Tupperware container full of friggin' kitchen cabinet medical stuff. And I'm going to tell you right here and now, I had that kit in the truck exactly a week before I had to pop it open the first time because my daughter had a headache and needed an ibuprofen. Like, having that stuff at the ready comes in handy so freaking often. And my wife also has a Bobo kit and an IFAC. I keep water in my truck. I couldn't even tell you how much because it's all little 12-ounce bottles and they're dispersed all over the truck. Like, when I was trying to pack water into this truck, any available space that I could fit a water bottle, I stuffed it in there. Just like, instead of having a couple of big 5-gallon jugs, I was just like, hey, there's a little bit of space right here. Put another water bottle in there, And at this point, like, if you lift up my back seat and you fold forward my back seat, there's just water bottles everywhere. Because any available space I had left, I filled. I keep mainstay rations in my truck, which are little vacuum-packed, foil-wrapped emergency rations. They actually come from the maritime world, but they're impervious to salt water. They're impervious to heat. I want to say they have a 10-year shelf life, and like, it's the perfect thing to keep in a vehicle because Almost any other food product you keep in a vehicle, as hot as it gets, is going to go bad in about 6 months max. Mainstay rations don't care. They're built to be in bad environments. So I've got emergency food, emergency water, I've got medical, I've got a flashlight. I keep a set of LED emergency lights that have little bases. I can set them out on the road, or they have magnetic bases. I can pop them on the side of the truck. So if I have a breakdown, I have a way to signal to other drivers. And then I have a whole in my bed. I have a toolbox, and that toolbox is like oil and rescue tape if I have a busted radiator hose I need to fix, and it's recovery gear. It's a snatch strap. It's tools. It's everything in the bed of my truck is I am stuck someplace or I am broke down. I need to get myself free. Everything inside the vehicle mostly is sustainment stuff. And I also keep a tire inflator, a plug kit, and a jump box. Again, if the truck stops behaving itself, I have the things I need to make it behave itself. Oh, and pro tip, anybody here that has a serpentine belt, the next time you change it, throw that serpentine belt either in your trunk or your toolbox or whatever, and have the tools you need to change it on the side of the road. Or even if you don't have the tools, like just wrap it in the direction it's supposed to go, kind of get it on the pulley, get somebody to bump your starter, and it'll pop it right on. Just in case you shred a serpentine belt in the middle of nowhere, you need to get your vehicle going again. I've done it before. So like that's the stuff I can think of that I carry in the vehicle. It's mostly centered around if the truck stops, make the truck move again, and the ability to self recover so that my family's not stuck out there, and it's the ability to sustain us if we are truly really stuck. And then ways to call for help, keep the cell phones going, and have a way to talk if the cell phones stop working. Um, about the only thing we that I don't carry in the truck that might happen in the future would be like I might throw one of these Baofeng GMRS radios in my truck just to have like if I have to stay in the truck and somebody has to walk away from the truck, I have a way for them to keep in touch. I don't know. I do know that at some point I'm gonna have to set up a little radio bag or a little Pelican case with a portable radio for Gillian to be able to reach me if she's in her vehicle, because she doesn't want a radio permanently mounted in her vehicle and an antenna permanently mounted. And like that's one part of my comms plan that I haven't fully fleshed out yet, but it's going to have to happen sooner or later. I think that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
You have half of a camping and outdoors store in your truck.
Oh yeah, ever since I added my drawer system, so the deck drawer system kind of escalated a little bit.
You don't
But
say.
yeah, but no. So basically, yeah, I have I have a road atlas map system that I have in the back seat that fits right behind the passenger seat. So I can. I actually need to buy a new one, a upgraded one, because this one I think is about 5 or so, maybe 6 years old. So I need to get one that's more up to date, more current. I have extra water. I got a crowbar in there just in case I need to use it for self protection or to bend something or get something unstuck. I don't know. Pick your poison, I guess. I have, uh, let's see, besides like the tire stuff and all that crap. I have a rain kit. So I have basically just a nice jacket for when it rains. So I have that in there all the time. I keep a wool blanket in the behind the seat also at all times. I keep extra mags in my center console, some extra batteries, stuff like that. On the passenger side, the headrest I actually have again from Dark Angel Medical. I actually have basically it's like a headrest IFAC. Has two tourniquets in it, has chest seals. I mean, all that stuff that you need to do that. On top of that, I have a small med bag that I carry with me. It has a small tank of O2 in there. I have the bag valve mask. I have non-rebreathers. Everything I need to do, either do to do a NPA or NPA or whatever. Um, I can do. I have in that bag is multiple tourniquets. I have a IFAC that is actually in the door that I got from Stop the Bleed organization. So it's right there. So I honestly, if it's on my driver's side and it's on the driver's side passenger door, so I just got to jump out, grab, open up that door, grab it, and you just rip it open, and it has everything you need, stage tourniquet, everything. So I have that. Jumper cables, obviously, jump pack. And then you move back to the deck drawer system. I actually need, now that I've got it organized how I want, I actually need to put it in there, but I'll have a like a 2-ton jack in there that I can use that folds down pretty nice. Uh, Camp stove, food, a lot of food that I have in there. Uh, Folding chair, fuel, extra fuel for camp stove, stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I know I'm missing some other stuff, but
Yeah, you reminded me of
gloves,
rain gear.
multiple pairs of gloves. So
It's mandatory to keep a poncho or a raincoat in your vehicle down here.
mhm.
Anybody that disagrees with me, like, I know who I'm going to be laughing at when you're on the side of the road changing a flat in a rainstorm. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I one of the things that yeah, I mean, what is it? I don't know. I mean, I've added so much in there now that with especially with uh this drawer system and stuff, I've added a lot in there. So
Mm,
but no, I mean, and that's the thing. It's my truck is actually something that's ever expanding. I'm always putting stuff in, taking stuff out. So it's always changing. It changes more than my actual EDC. So
yeah. So I guess like the to start, I guess tying this whole thing together with a bow, like the method to the madness here is that like the whole idea of like everyday carry really comes down to the idea of like, you know, one day potentially some situation is going to arise and there are things that could make that situation much more tolerable to you. So it just kind of pays to like have those things at the ready and be in the habit of carrying them. And the thing I posit to most people is like, in all the time I've been in this world and doing these kinds of things, I have never once had to draw my firearm down on somebody. Not even once. I've been in a situation where I thought I might, but fortunately it didn't unwrap. It didn't unwrap that way. I have been on the scene of a car accident 4 times where there was no police officer and no EMT on site before me. And that's 4 times. Me and that IFAC might have been the only thing keeping somebody in one piece until professionals showed up. So the IFAC to me is a good thing to keep because, again, we're 0 for the gun and 4 for the IFAC. The Bobo kit I keep in my truck, I have lost count of how many times I've had to pull that out for Tylenol or for Band-Aids or for
um,
Benadryl or for whatever else. I've lost count of how many times I pull that out. This flashlight, I mean, obviously I carry it a lot, but I don't know how many times I pulled this out of my pocket and handed it to my wife or handed it to my daughter, or I've used it to illuminate parking lots, or the power goes out here at night and I'm in a dark room all of a sudden. I just pull this out, pop the light on, and start walking around like telling everybody in my household like, "Hey, y'all stay where you're at because I have a light. I'll bring you a flashlight or I'll bring you a lantern. Just don't go stumbling around the dark and hurt yourselves." This thing gets used constantly. This knife has been used more for cutting open mail and packages than for doing tactical stuff. So I guess the point I'm making with this little rant is like, consider the fact that it's very often the most mundane things for the most mundane reasons that you carry stuff. It isn't always I need to shank a terrorist and then perform first aid on 14 people. A lot of times it's I don't see in the dark very well without a flashlight, or somebody has a headache and needs Tylenol. So like I always go back to the idea that like preparedness is something we should be doing every day. And we should be, if you're going to prepare for an extraordinary situation, I'm behind that. But if you're going to prepare for an extraordinary situation at the same time you ignore a mundane situation, I'm going to give you side eye. and possibly even Forrest Whitaker eye. Because, if you're going to have a tourniquet but no band-aids in your house, I don't know what you're doing. Can't fix every problem with tactical stuff. Unless you're doing it for Instagram clout. Then by all means ignore the band-aids and get extra tourniquets. Although I don't think most of the Instagram rangers are doing tourniquets, they're just showing off.
Hmm.
Just saying. I'm just saying, guys, like, think rationally about this, think about what you're doing. And the advice I usually give people when they first start out in preparedness and they're like, I need food, but I don't know what to get. And I tell them, go get your grocery list and then buy like 4 of everything on that list, and you're going to be in pretty good shape just on that. If you want to know what you should carry on yourself, start thinking about the last 6 months of your life and think about, oh, this situation, I wish I'd had a flashlight. Guess what you should carry? This situation, I needed a lighter, or I needed a pocket knife, or I needed cash. Guess what you should start carrying? Or my phone died. Guess what you should start carrying? Like, a little bit of hindsight, a little bit of analyzing our situation, a little bit of looking at the situations we or people we know have been in will inform you very quickly what you should do going forward if we're just honest and smart enough to make the adjustments. Anything else, Andrew?
No, it's a good way to end it.
This Jack and Coke has definitely started kicking. I don't think I'm going to do any editing tonight. It would be a bad decision.
All right, well, everybody, comment below if you want to. Be interesting to hear what everybody else has, what they, what people carry and ammo and all that stuff. But yeah, so I don't know. With that, I will. I don't know. We'll get some time to record again soon. Our schedules are pretty crazy for the next couple weeks.
Yes. Yes, they are. But at camp, we'll get a chance to sit down and talk and visit and probably do something, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Matter of fact, podcast going out the door. Dump your pockets, look at what's in them, and start asking yourself those questions about, am I carrying the things I should or am I not? Talk to y'all in a week. Bye, everybody.
See ya.